Hi guys, it's Wednesday. Welcome back to our Healthy Hump Days with Dr. Miller and Dr. Shannyn here at Mill Pond Integrated Health and Wellness. We're happy to have you back.
We love us some Healthy Hump Day.
we love us some Healthy Hump Day.
We got really great response last week. I'm really impressed with how many people jumped on and asked questions, which is perfect. Dr. Miller's going to keep up with some of the comments today, so if you have some questions as we go or some comments, feel free to leave them and we'll try and answer them right now. But what we're going to talk about today is something that I personally love, that we follow pretty much every day, and that's intermittent fasting, which I think is kind of becoming a buzzword, but people don't really know what that means. Or they think about fasting and they think, okay, well, how long do I have to go without eating, or it's hard, or I'll get hungry. So we want to talk to you about how you do it, what that looks like on, just a day in and day out basis, debunk some of the myths, and tell you what are awesome reasons why you should be doing some form of intermittent fasting. So the way we do it, I prefer, and there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. The one we follow is called the 16 and 8. So you're really only eating food for 8 hours a day, which means you're also fasting for those other 16 hours. So you're still eating on a daily basis. You're just choosing a different window to consume those calories for. And you can narrow it a little bit more than 8 hours as you get better at this, but I think that's a really good starting place for most people. So in general, what that looks like when you start intermittent fasting is dropping one meal a day. So maybe you choose to drop breakfast and you start your first meal sometime around 11 or noon, and then you eat lunch. You might have a small snack, you'll eat dinner, but then you stop eating around 8. So you're only eating in that 8-hour window, which means you're fasting for several hours after you wake up, and you're also fasting for several hours before you go to bed. That's a great place to start. And as you get braver or your body gets more used to that, you can continue to narrow those eating hours so that your fast becomes longer, so that you can get some better benefit from that. So why do we talk about fasting and why do we like that? I want you to explain a little bit, why is it good for your body to have those continued hours of fasting?
Yeah, right, absolutely. So, when you're consuming food, your body's going through process to digest those foods, process the stuff. And so, you really want to give your body a chance to do important things like mainly boost your immune system function, right? And so if your body is not taking all that energy to digest the foods, then it's going to be able to put that energy towards things like boosting your immune system, fighting disease, and really just, focusing on becoming more healthy instead of processing food.
Yep. So I always tell people your body can only do a couple of things really well at the same time.
Right.
So if the first thing that you do is wake up and eat a meal, and then you eat a snack, and then you have lunch and another snack, and you eat dinner, and you have a snack right before you go to bed, you spent your entire day breaking down and digesting food. Right. Your body can't have enough energy to do that. Regrow new healthy cells, boost your immune system, give you energy, lose weight, do all the other things you want it to do if you're forcing it to digest food the entire time that you're awake. So giving it those times to not have to worry about that, to do those other functions, has so many awesome benefits. The research I was looking at says that your liver stores glycogen, which is kind of like a sugar store. And your body will use your food and all those other things for energy for a good 8 to 10 hours. But it's after that 8 to 10 hours that your body will actually then start to burn off fat for energy. So you need to go at least more than 10 hours without eating to even get your body to go into that fat burning mode, which is where we all want to be. I know ketosis is really the keto diet and things like that, that's a big buzzword right now. Not that I don't like it, but I think that there's better ways to mimic some of those results that people are looking through a ketogenic diet. And intermittent fasting is one of the best ways to do that. Absolutely. So the way you produce those ketones is by burning fat for energy. That's why the keto diet tells you to increase your fats and do, very low carb, very high fat, which is fine. But your body will do the same thing if you allow it to fast long enough. Right about that 10-hour point, it's going to start using fat for fuel and developing its own ketones, which is awesome because that's one less thing you need to buy. I know a lot of people sell those ketones or tell you to add it back in, but your body can do it on its own. You just have to give it enough time to need to do that. Your body is brilliant. It's one of my favorite things to say. If you're giving it food all day long, it doesn't want to work very hard to go and find that fat to burn. But if you stop giving it food for long enough, it will find fat to burn for for energy, but also for weight loss. That's a very great benefit. If you don't even change what you eat, you just change the time frames that you eat it in, you just by default will still burn fat and lose weight, because you're going to allow your body to get into that zone or that amount of time where it's going to be using fat for fuel. So not that we don't want you changing what to eat, but definitely, narrowing those hours makes a very big difference. So do you want to kind of touch on what does that look like for you on a regular day? What does your regular eating schedule look like?
Yeah, so again, right now, I'm kind of what we call expressing health, trying to get over some of these nasty bugs that we've been dealing with. And so, I'm a little more on top of doing this intermittent fasting because, again, I want to boost my immune system function and I really give my body the time and direct that energy towards killing whatever viruses or bacteria that my body's trying to fight. And so, I'm taking a lot of different supplements. That flu shot that we talked about last week.
Yep.
I'm doing flu shots on the hour, right? By the hour. So
Yep.
I've been going through Albesia like it's water. But what we typically do, a lot of days, my lunch will be a heavy protein shake, which is a really good quality, like bone broth protein. Maybe I'll put some almond butter or a banana just to give it a little more glucose in there. But if I'm really going to get serious, then I'll really wait until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
Maybe have a snack and then do a good healthy meal.
Yep.
And so a lot of people think, well, if I'm eating healthy, isn't my body still going to have that same reaction? Then I'm not eating a bunch of carbs in the morning. And in reality, even if you're eating healthy, it's still, you get a lot of health benefits by doing this intermittent fasting. And so, there's nothing wrong with doing lunch and then doing a snack and doing dinner. But what I normally try to do is do something even really light for lunch and then have one main meal as dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, that might sound crazy to you right now. I couldn't go all the way to 2 in the afternoon before eating my first meal. I'm going to be starving.
Right.
But the coolest thing is, for the first couple of days, you might. But as soon as your body switches over to being a fat burner and using that fat for energy, you stop being hungry. Especially if you're someone who suffers with cravings, you feel like you have a sweet tooth, or you're prone to eating too much. This is a great way to nip that, because you really will just transform your body's thought on food. You won't need it anymore, because you're getting, not that you won't need it ever, but you'll be getting that energy from the fat in your body, so you really don't get hungry. So I've had a lot of people say, I can't do that. If I don't eat, my blood sugar drops and I don't feel very good. That's one of the main reasons. Yeah, it does. But if your blood sugar is that unstable, fasting is great for you. You've got to retrain your body how to stabilize your blood sugars, whether they're too low in somebody in that situation or too high, like someone with diabetes. Fasting is great for both of those situations because it helps your body adapt. It helps your body relearn to use its own fat stores for fuel instead of being dependent on food. So that old, you want to eat 5 small meals a day. I'm sure you've all tried that at some point, or if you've been trying to lose weight, people tell you that all the time. Eat a whole bunch of really small meals all throughout the day. It'll boost your metabolism. That is so untrue. That is the exact opposite of what you want to do, because now you're teaching your body that it needs food to start your metabolism, that it needs food for energy, that it needs food for all of those things, when that isn't true. You need enough food in the course of a day to make sure you're getting good nutrients, but we think of food so different. We eat way more than we really need to, and people kind of justify that. And, I think they started that whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day thing. You know who started that? Cereal companies and people who wanted you to buy breakfast food. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day, especially because most breakfast is chock full of sugars and carbs. If you're having cereal or toast or even oatmeal, those are so full of sugar, you're inflaming your body and putting your brain in this kind of sugar surge very first thing in the day. That's why you have crashes midday. That's why you have that 2 p.m. I don't know why I feel okay in the morning, but then I'm exhausted mid-afternoon, because your body is reliant on those sugars to get you through the day. We've got to retrain that.
Yeah, and one thing that we really haven't talked about is water, right? While you're going through your fasting process, that doesn't mean don't drink your water, because that's the first thing that you want to do in the morning.
Right.
You want to get a lot of water in you. That's really what's going to get your digestive system going, get your organ systems in gear. You start to hydrate your body. So we're drinking, tons of water throughout the day. We're just not eating food, right? And for those of you guys that are big in exercising, because I don't know when you exercise, but I exercise in the morning.
Yep, me too.
And so, a lot of people say, well, I exercise, I got to go home and eat a bunch of food because I get really hungry. Excuse me. But one things I will do, if I do have a heavy cardio exercise that day, I will come home and have a piece of fruit, because a piece of fruit is going to give me a little glucose, and it's going to kind of just satisfy those muscles, help those muscles rebuild. And whether that's really breaking your intermittent fast or not, I do a little bit of fruit if I do a heavy cardio exercise. But again, guys, you want to make sure that you're doing tons of water, right?
Tons of water.
Yep.
And now remember, you can move that fasting and that feasting window, that what works better for your life. So if you are somebody, I have a nurse say, I'm up at 4, there's no way I can make it to 2, what do I do then? Well, then your window doesn't necessarily have to be noon to 8. Maybe you start eating at 6 a.m., but you stop eating mid-afternoon. So you can make that work in your life. So if you do heavy exercise in the morning, well, maybe you break your fast a little bit earlier, but then you also restart it earlier in the evening. So be aware of that. You want to do it that it's manageable in your life.
Absolutely.
And now we mentioned a little bit, but those first couple of days might be difficult. You might feel hungry, you might feel crabby a little bit, but you've got to get through those, because anytime you're retraining your body a new habit, you've got to break through some of that kind of detox and some of that withdrawal, because let's face it, most people are addicted to food. Even if it's good food, we're just addicted to eating so much of it that you've got to switch those patterns around. And when you do, you really start to get some very cool benefits. So there's tons of research out there about intermittent fasting being really good for the immune system, like Dr. Miller mentioned, but also fasting is a phenomenal way to heal and seal up your gut lining. So it actually helps regenerate your gut if you go through periods of time without eating. So for someone who's new to fasting, I think the intermittent fasting is the easiest way to start. So again, you're just picking those hours of time. But as you get better at that, or as you want to go to the next level, I love doing 3-day fasts. Sometimes it's a bone broth fast. All I'll drink for 3 full days is just good, healthy bone broth. Some days it's a green juice fast, and I'll just do raw green juice. Sometimes it's just water, but 3 days is enough of a reset button to allow your gut lining to start to regenerate. So if you suffer with bloating or weight gain, or you just can't lose weight, starting with a good 3-day fast is awesome. But just be prepared. It's not always easy, but it's really, really good for your health to have that reset button and to give your body 3 days just to focus on healing and regenerating and not breaking down to food.
Yeah, what I see with a lot of diabetics, Dr. Shannyn, is their leptin hormone's off the hook.
Right, yeah.
Right? And so for those of you guys who don't know what a leptin hormone, we call it our hunger hormone.
Yep.
And so, believe it or not, guys, there's hormones in your body that tell you when you're hungry and tell you when to stop eating, because you should have enough food in your system. And what we see with a lot of diabetics is that leptin hormone is really high.
Super high.
And what that's saying is that your body's just going to continue to be hungry. It's going to continue to crave those carbs and those sugars. And so, by doing this intermittent fasting is one way that we really try to reset that leptin hormone,
Yep.
which makes a huge difference in the cravings, which is going to make a difference in your blood sugars and your weight. Again, guys, there's so many health benefits to this intermittent fasting. We really suggest you guys give it a try.
Absolutely. So, I actually had a patient the other day who was just getting started, really new, hadn't even really started making her nutrition changes yet, just started narrowing her hours. What worked best from her was she did 11 to 7. So she didn't start eating till 11 and she stopped eating at 7. She did it for 3 days, and she even admittedly didn't eat that well in between those hours, and she dropped 6 pounds in 3 days.
That's
just
awesome.
Narrowing those times, because you're resetting those hormones like leptin and insulin. You're getting your gut to regenerate a little bit, and you're making your body burn that fat.
So with minimal changes in what she's eating, just by changing the time.
Just by changing the times.
That's it.
So that's a really great starting place for everybody. It's really easy. You can fit it into your life, and then that gives you the opportunity then to go in and start changing. I want to do a healthier lunch. I want to do healthier dinner. Start making those steps in the right direction. But I really feel like intermittent fasting is a great first step for everybody. So
Absolutely.
Definitely go ahead and give it a try. Again, the easiest way to start is doing 8 hours of eating in a day and then fasting for the other 16. That is a great starting place. And then as you get braver, you can start narrowing your hours that you are eating. But I want to make some comments as you do this. Go and try it for the next couple of days. Let us know how it goes, how you feel, how your weight's doing, how easy it was for you, or if maybe you struggled the first couple of days but got through it and started feeling better maybe about day 3 or 4. Comment those things so other people can hear your experience as well.
And as usual, guys, please share this video around. There's a lot of people out there that need to hear this information. God bless. We'll see you next week.